Part 18 of Depraved by Brian Smith. And as you can see, I finished the book. Oh, I finished yet another book. And I really wanted this one to be over. Alright, Bing Bing. You ready to talk about it? Oh, there she goes. You alright? No, tired baby. Are you okay? You live a hard life. You poor thing. So the ending of this book is pretty dumb, and I hated every minute of it. So, Garner left the house as Hoke. Hoke, I guess, no longer existed, and Garner took over his body as the vessel. As he exited the house, he noticed that Hoke had the car, the Falcon. He decided he's gonna take it to Nashville and start a new life. And all of a sudden, out of the woods comes a familiar voice. Hoke! Hoke, I need to talk to you. Oh, it was Jessica. And I'm getting really tired of descriptions of men getting really horny and hard at the sight of attractive females. And Garner thought to himself, wow, she's hot. I haven't had sex in centuries. She'd be a good first partner. I'll take her by force if needed. Ick. Ick. But then something deep and fearful kind of tapped into Garner's mind. Garner kind of tapped into Hoke's memories to try to figure out why he was feeling fear. And one of the last memories that Hoke really recalled as the vessel was when he took advantage of Jessica. What are you smelling? Again, this book is getting ridiculous because immediately Jessica came up and killed Garner. So, boom, that character is dead and taken care of. And right behind Jessica were these military men that her father sent. They witnessed her killing him, and the military man looked at her and asked, "Someone you know?" She nonchalantly looked back at this military guy and said, "He R-worded me earlier this morning." "Oh, that's unfortunate. Well, no one will know a thing. We'll cover this up." And, she flirtatiously looked at him and said, "Alright, well, I'm gonna be on my way. You tell my daddy to look out for the rest of you. I'll go and talk to him later." And she, got in the Falcon and drove away. As these military men stood there, she understood that a big military cover-up will soon ensue and destroy the town of Hopkins Bend. This wasn't the first time her father had instructed a quote-unquote military cover-up of a town in that area. What are you doing? What are you doing? You find a treat? What are you doing? So technically that scene was the very end of the book. So now for the next hour we slipped into the epilogue / Depraved Part 2. It's right there. Go get it. So the epilogue begins with the Torture Twins. We are greeted with Helga and Megan are performing on stage their Torture Twin act for an underground, dark web, sexy snuff performance. Like a sick version of OnlyFans. If you paid an extra amount of money, you get to see live snuff performances online as well. So they had a whole dance routine of looking, sexily at the crowd and then killing a man on stage. Literally the same thing Helga performed earlier in the book. Megan absolutely loved her new life. She liked being a part of the showgirls kind of vibe. Helga and Megan now live together. Currently they're in Cleveland, staying at a fancy hotel. Helga, in this particular scene, was on the computer and told Megan, "So, Madeline just reached out to me. I guess they opened another sin den in a new town outside of Hopkins. Madeline, I guess, has legal backing with the Sinden, so, life might be different over there. She's inviting us to come back. And at first, Megan kind of mulled it over. She really liked what she has now, and considering they were both in the Sinden for very terrible reasons, they said, yeah, let's accept, let's go back. So at this point, Megan doesn't really know what happened to Pete. They don't speak anymore. They never saw each other again. All that's alluded to was Pete became a killer, and she doesn't speak to him anymore. The last thing Megan and Helga did was they made it out of Hopkins just as the military began their raid. I don't really know where they went. All they know is the media claimed that it was a backwoods redneck terror cell that destroyed the town, but Megan and everyone who escaped there knows that was a complete media cover-up and a lie, but they're too chicken to come forward with the truth. Plus, it's none of their business anymore. They don't care. And that was the last time we heard of Megan and Helga before we switched stories in the epilogue to the assassin. My least favorite character, back to Jessica. Jessica is now in the army as a private. Within a year of being released from Hopkins Bend, she is now a private in the army. She was pulled into a meeting just a day before her deployment to Afghanistan. Something felt off about this meeting. One of her sergeants had her come in. Then the sergeant left her with this man who didn't feel army. You're not army, are you? Is it that obvious? You see, Mrs. Sloan, Jessica. Can I call you Jessica? I work for an organization with no name. Government affiliation. You see, about a year ago, we dug up your habits from Hopkins Bend, and we want to offer you a job. The job description was pretty much assassinations. And without skipping a beat, Jessica knew she could do it because she was a cold-blooded killer, and she knew, I can do this. So she accepted the job, and as she laid in her bunk that night, preparing to go to Afghanistan, she smiled to herself at the thought of killing more people. And now we go to the lovely couple in the epilogue. We are greeted with a scene of Pete laying on a beach on the Georgia coast. He thought to himself how much he missed Megan, but he really loves his life now with Justine. Yes. They ended up together. Justine was walking around collecting shells, and Pete thought long and hard about how they survived that town, and he's the happiest he's ever been, with amazing intimacy that Megan could never fulfill. And as the weather grew cold, Pete's just like, come on, baby, let's go back in the house. So they went back inside this beachside cabin to a bunch of random people tied up and duct taped to chairs. So Pete and Justine are freaking psychotic. They broke into this particular beachside estate, tied up this, I think they're family members, I'm not sure, but they've killed 5 of them already and shoved them in a back bedroom. And the rest of them that they tied up, Justine begins stabbing an old woman with a screwdriver as Pete cut off one man's ear. They began cooking their flesh as they were alive. Oh my goodness, hello baby. Look at you. I'm sorry. You poor thing. Listening to this all day. Look at that baby. So they summarize that since they've escaped Hopkins Bend, they've killed over 40 people together. They're kind of a Bonnie and Clyde duo. And as they were kind of dismembering these living individuals in this living room, Pete and Justine got really horn doggy and screwed each other in front of these tied up people. And this is the last that we hear from these two.